All right, so we'll get started. So let's start in child's pose, and we'll just kind of get into our breath and start to move from there. Just gonna tilt down a little. Hopefully see me. So find your way to your favorite variation of child's pose, and you could do that with props or without. Um, Generally speaking, we've got knees nice and wide, toes together. And my suggestion for today is to reach the arms forward, connect the palms, and then bend the elbows. So you just get a little bit more opening into the chest and shoulders, which we're gonna be focusing on a little bit today. I've been feeling a little out of balance around my spine and upper back, so just open that up a little today. And then start to find your breath. So you might want to start with a couple of sighs just to kind of clear whatever's been happening for you this morning. And then eventually find your Ujjayi pranayam, that little whispering sound at the back of the throat. And that whispering sound is actually a product of some actions that are happening in terms of the breath. And so this doesn't have to be a really big engagement, but just almost like an energetic lift from the pelvic floor along the core. And then the diaphragm, so the ribs, are expanding out to the sides on the inhale and drawing in towards the midline on the exhale. And then there's just a lengthening at the back of the throat. So the whispering sound almost comes from this feeling of the soft palate lifting and ballooning open a little bit. So rather than a constriction, it's actually a lift. And then we start to get that nice smooth inhale and exhale. We start to settle and organize our energy around this new moon, which just happened yesterday. So we're still very much in the new moon cycle, but there's a rising action that's coming as we move into our September, whatever that means for us right now. And if you'd like to take these first few moments just to set an intention, to remember why you came to the mat today, it might be nice to do that here with your breath. I'm going to take a good 10 or so breaths to meet in downward dog. So you may want to stay here a little bit longer. You may want to start to crawl up towards your dog. And I'm doing that with some cat and cows. So there's time. Okay, see what you need today. And cat and cow is a nice way of kind of checking in with what's going on along the spine and in the shoulders and hips. But whatever you're doing, just stay connected to that breath. Eyes could be closed. A big part of this practice is the moving meditation. So it's not so much about the postures we're doing as connecting the breath and the movement together. So if there's ever a moment where I'm doing something you don't want to do or something's not working for you, just come back to the rhythm of the breath and see what your body does want to do, including stillness, and you're in the practice. Okay. So when you come into your downward dog, whenever that moment comes, you might want to pedal out the heels, sway the hips. You might want to be still. That's perfect. Just make sure you've got a little bit of a bend in your elbows and think of hugging the inner elbows a little towards each other. That'll help the shoulders widen away from each other a bit and relax the neck. There's a slight external rotation of the shoulders. And even as you're doing that, you want to keep the inner edge of the hands pressing down. So it's actually a bit of a spiral. Inner edge of the hand presses down, outer shoulder rolls back. Letting the head relax if you can. And when you're ready, come up towards the top of your mat, feet about hips distance apart. They could be wider. Knees at least a little bit bent. You're welcome to rest your elbows on your bent knees. Or of course you can hang down, you can sway, you can be still. So we're staying in that kind of mode of just feeling into the breath and allowing the breath to teach you what you need today, which will be different from what you needed yesterday, different from tomorrow. Just trying to be right here. And then we'll roll up. So I'm gonna roll slowly, bending the knees, leaning the weight back into the heels and letting the head and shoulders be relaxed. You could also come up with a neutral spine, looking forward, especially if you have some lower back stuff. Just take your time. Coming eventually to Tadasana, standing mountain pose at the top of your mat. And we're gonna enter into our flow, into our sun salutation. So just take a moment to lift up your toes, spread them apart and reconnect them to the earth. Catch the waves of your breath. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive to the earth. Halfway lift, draw your heart forward. Right foot steps back. You can come down. Heart and hands rise, inhale. Downward facing dog as you exhale. Connect the palms, step back. Come to your plank, feel free to use your knees. Look a little bit forward and lower all the way down. So the hands land around the low ribs. Point the toes, roll the shoulders back and lift your heart. And then back to downward dog. Catch your inhale, right leg will rise to the sky. Step the foot through. Back knee comes down, inhale to rise. Exhale, top of the mat. Half lift and melt. Inhale all the way up. Exhale all the way down. Lengthen halfway, inhaling. Left foot steps back. Inhale, rise. Downward facing dog. Plank pose, inhale. This time, maybe a little push up as you exhale, hugging the elbows in. And then you can bring the knees down and pull through into upward facing dog. Exhale back to down dog. Left leg rises to the sky. Step the foot through. Inhale to rise. Beautiful, you guys. Forward fold at the top of your mat. Halfway lift and fold. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Exhale, hands come to the heart. Begin again, reach up, inhale. Exhale, fold down. Lengthen, draw forward. Right foot back. This could be a high lunge here if you prefer. Inhale, rise. Downward dog. Through Vinyasa, on or off the knees. Plank, little push up. Upward facing dog or cobra works here too. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Step through. Rising up, higher low lunge. Gorgeous. Forward fold. Lengthen and fold. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Exhale, dive all the way down again. Lengthen, inhale. Left foot steps back. High or low lunge. Downward dog. Plank pose. Little push up on the exhale. Inhale, pulls through to your back bend. And back to downward dog. Left leg rises. And step through. High or low lunge to the top of the mat. Lengthen and melt. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Hands to the heart. Let's keep flowing. Reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive. Lengthen. Right foot back. Inhale, rise. Downward dog. Through plank. Push up. Lift the heart. Downward dog. Right leg rises. Any amount. Step through. High or low lunge. Beautifully, guys. Forward fold. Lengthen. And melt. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Exhale, dive all the way down. Lengthen. Left foot back. High or low lunge. Beautiful. Downward dog. Vinyasa, you can always skip these, okay? Or you could do cat and cow instead. Check in with your energy. It's often a bit lower around the new moon. Left leg rises. Step it through. High or low. Beautiful. To the top of the mat. Lengthen. And melt. Bend the knees, rise all the way up. Hands to heart. Take a moment to breathe and feel. To notice how the energy is flowing or not through your body, through your heart. Inhale. As you exhale, bend your knees, reach your arms forward and up and come into a chair. Lift the toes up, spread them apart, reconnect them. You want your weight mostly in your heels. Okay, we're gonna inhale. Then as you exhale, bring your ribs towards your thighs and your hands back behind you. Inhale, rise up again, your knees are still bent. Exhale, ribs to thighs, hands slide back. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, ribs to thighs. Inhale, rise. Ribs to thighs. Nice, you guys. Okay, just one more. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, ribs to thighs. This time, fold on down, and you can hook your thumbs or interlace your fingers around behind your back and press the fists up to the sky. If your strap is handy and you prefer that, you could definitely do that too. We're not going to be here too long. You can allow the head to relax, bend the knees as much as you need to, and you can be still, or again, you can sway or bend one knee at a time. Okay, next time you exhale, release the hands down by your feet and sit down. Try no hands. If you need the hands, use the hands. Okay, we're gonna lay all the way down onto our backs. Feet are on the floor to start, hands resting on the low belly. We're gonna begin with some pelvic floor work and then we're gonna bring that into the core, okay? So we're gonna inhale, relax belly, relax pelvic floor. As you exhale, gather your pelvic floor muscles in and up towards your heart. And then inhale and relax, okay? So as you exhale, the pelvic floor muscles are gathering in and up towards your heart. So it's like you're trying not to go to the bathroom. And then on the inhale, I want you to relax those as much as you possibly can. So that's important as the contraction. Okay, we're just going to do a few of these just to kind of wake up the muscles and then use them in our core. And as we're doing this work into the pelvic floor, you want to think about isolating that. So we're doing pelvic floor, but nothing is really happening with the belly. It's still relatively soft. Sometimes that's hard to kind of separate the two things because they are connected, but we want to be able to independently engage these muscles, okay? Just one more time. Relax on the inhale. On the exhale, engage pelvic floor muscles, and let's try to hold this time. Just pelvic floor, belly is still relatively soft. We're drawing in and holding, 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 and relax, 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 okay? Take a few deep breaths, softening. If you want to let your knees fall in or out, that's fine. Conscious softening. So that just supports the pelvic organs as we continue to do our core work. And I often think of the pelvic floor as kind of the center of the deep core line. So it's a really important place that we have some awareness in and can actually use, whether or not you've given birth. Okay, this is important for everybody. So from here, let's add on. So you can keep your head down, or you can interlace your fingers around behind the back of your head and curl your shoulder blades up off the mat. Gather those pelvic floor muscles in and up, and then scoop the belly button towards the heart. So we're engaging the transverse abdominis too. Okay, if you're being gentle with your core right now, you can just march one foot off the floor and then the other, keeping a nice neutral back, or you can lift up the shins with me. Okay, big toes are touching, inner knees are touching like you were holding a dollar bill in between them, or $100 bill maybe. This is a better way of thinking about that. More important to hold on to. And then we're going to inhale to slide the shins away. Exhale, we'll bring them in. Inhale, slide the knees away. Exhale, bring them in. Maybe the better metaphor is a credit card between the knees, because who uses cash anymore, right? Post-COVID. Sliding the knees away. Bring them in. If you want to add on the exhale, you can curl your tailbone off the ground a little bit. Okay. Inhale, sliding the knees away. Exhale, curling. So wherever you are, pelvic floor is engaged. Belly button is drawing in up towards the heart. It doesn't matter so much which of these movements you're doing, because you're going to get that work into the deep core either way. We're going to try for 4 more breaths. If you're marching, just make sure you end on evenly, so that if you started with the right, you'll end with the left, and so on. 2 and 1. And relax. You can take the soles of the feet together, knees open wide, and just take a few moments to really consciously relax the belly and the pelvic floor. So inhale, everything expands. Exhale, it just kind of drops back and in. Maybe a sigh. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to roll over to one side. I'm coming to my left. We'll do both. So I'm just resting my head in my hand. You could rest it on your arm too. Natural curve in the lower back, and the knees are a little bit bent, not straight in front of you, but just pointed a little bit down towards the bottom of the room. I don't know if that's really the way that you put that, but you know, that way. You're going to float your top foot off the mat and flex the foot, turn the toes a little down. And then as you inhale, the heel is going to go back behind you and up towards the sky, like the little letter J, and then bring it down. Back behind you and up towards the sky. That's it. Good. Just following the breath. Inhale. Good. Lift. Try to keep everything else steady. Belly is gently engaged. Last two. And one. And then relax. You can bring the knees together. And if you'd like, you can pad out the outer hip with your soft fist. Okay. And just check in with that. So if that felt pretty intense, you can definitely do that one again. It's a challenging one for sure. It'll definitely get those muscles working, but I'm going to give you an option to try something a little more challenging. So I've got my top hand in front of me, and then this leg is going to float again, but this time it's going a little bit forward on that kind of 45-degree angle towards, it's sort of like the bottom corner of the rug I'm on, if that's helpful. And then again, the toes turn down. You're not doing a J, you're just going straight up and down, inhaling and exhaling. Try to keep the toes below the heel. So you're really getting kind of the back of the outer hip. This is so good if you ever have any issues with your sacral area, which I have plenty. Strengthening the outer hips helps my back pain immensely. It's probably the most helpful thing. Hip opening is usually quite helpful too, and don't worry, we'll do that too. For 4, 3, 2, one more if you can. Ooh, that's hard. Nice job, you guys. Pad out that outer hip. Nice and easy. Beautiful. And then roll onto your back, and you can take that same leg. So that was my right leg, and just take a brief thread the needle, releasing that outer hip. So holding on to the back of the thigh or just foot on the floor, depending on how tight your hip is. And you can be still or you can rock from side to side. Keep your foot flexed. And you should probably feel a stretch right where you were just working the hip. So just checking in with that. Shouldn't be any pain in the knee here. And then we'll gently release that. I like to shake my legs up towards the sky. You could also do windshield wiper with the feet on the ground if you prefer. And we'll just roll over to the second side. And I am going to flip over to the second side so you're not looking at my back. So we're doing our core sequence here, butt core, as well as belly core. So knees are together. Okay, again, a little bit of a natural curve in the low back. We are gently engaging the abdominals, but not a lot. And then the top leg is floating. And again, that bottom knee is pointing just down a little bit. Toes turn down, heel goes back and then up. Back and then up. So I'm just kind of tracing the J and then retracing it. So I'm coming down and forward again. So you don't have to be doing a circle here. Just backing up. Try to keep the core nice and steady so you're just moving from the hip. The pelvis isn't rolling around. Nice, you guys. 4, 3. Keep the toes down. 2. Last one. Nice work. Relax. You can pad that out if you like. Sometimes when we work those hip muscles, we haven't done them in a while, it almost feels like they're going to seize up. I find this helps so much. Just keeps them supple, ready to do more. Okay, feel free to do that one again. It's a little bit easier. Not that it's easy, but this one's a bit more challenging. So that top leg goes forward, toes down, and we just lift and lower. You don't have to do a J here, but you just really want to feel it in that outer hip region. A little bit more weight to work with here. For 3, 2, And one. Nice job, you guys. Relax and pat out your hip. You did it. That's the end of the core sequence. You can move on from here. You can lay on your back. Take that leg, so that's my left leg that I was just working, into that thread the needle shape and gently draw that in. And the foot is flexed. You can be still, or if you want, you can rock from side to side, just releasing that outer hip. Awesome. And then we'll let that go. I'm going to extend my legs up and give them a little shake. And then we'll make our way back to downward dog. So you can roll to one side and kind of make your way from there. If you want to rock and roll forward and back, you can do it that way too. And we're going to meet up at the top of the mat. So if you want to add a vinyasa here, you can. You don't have to. Any variation is fine. Might feel nice to stretch out the belly a little bit after that bit of core work that we did. And then those of you that are comfortable hopping really lightly to the top of the mat, you can definitely do that, or just walk your feet. And then roll up to stand. And just reconnect to your feet, reconnect to your energy, reconnect to your breath if you've lost it. And back into our standing flow. So go ahead and inhale, reach the arms up to the sky like we did before. Exhale, fold down. Halfway lift, step your right foot back, just like we did in the sun salutation, but we're going to be here a bit longer, so feel free to pad your knee if you are more comfortable with that. High lunge would be fine here. Okay, so square the hips, draw tailbone down, press the hips forward, and then take your hands around behind you. You can grab a strap if you want here, or hook the thumbs. I'm going to interlace my fingers, so just whatever is most comfortable for you here is fine. Hug the elbows together, press the fists away, and let your heart open towards the sky. So you don't want to overly kind of spill your belly forward. Keep drawing your front ribs back. Think more of opening the collarbones and the chest to the sky rather than tipping the whole thing up. So get that nice opening in the chest. Keep your back leg nice and strong, especially the glute. Breathe. Okay, release your hands, reach them up to the sky. And then next time you exhale, take your right fingertips or palm off your mat. Left arm opens to the sky. So we're in a nice open twist here. You can do this one with your back knee lifted or down. You can always change your mind. So you're going to open your chest on your inhale. On your exhale, take that left arm under your right armpit. So you're kind of rounding your upper back a little bit. And then inhale, unfurling to the sky. Exhale, drawing under, rounding the upper back a bit, letting the shoulder blades spread apart. Inhale and open up. So you can think of your eyes following your hand, but you can do this with your eyes closed if you want. Let's do one more. And then next time you're in that open twist, let's pause for a couple breaths. You might try flexing your hand up to the sky. Let's get a little bit of a different opening into the forearm and shoulder there. Inhale, and then pyramid pose. So bring your hands down to either side of your front foot. Use your blocks if they're handy. Pick up your back knee and step the back foot in a little bit. So we've got the toes pointing a little bit forward, like 45 degrees. We're going to work that front leg to straight and get a nice halfway lift going. So if you do have tight hamstrings or any kind of issues in your back, the blocks will be quite helpful because they can let you be up higher. Draw your left hip back and your heart forward, nice and long. Stay here, or as you exhale, fold down a little. And you can do that as a little flow. So as you inhale, you can lengthen the heart forward. And as you exhale, melt. Okay, next time you come into that halfway lift position, stay there. Take your left hand to your sacrum, so that's the back of your pelvis, and just take a moment to kind of adjust so the sacrum feels really nice and flat, so it's not tipping to one side, okay? You might already feel like, whoa, that's a very different experience. There's almost like the outer hip rolling back is happening there. And then if that's comfortable, you can turn your chest open to the left and maybe even reach that left arm up to the sky. So that's going to be a bit of a different experience here. Twisted pyramid or twisted triangle. This is actually called sometimes, but it's pretty different from triangle. So it's a bit of a, maybe not the best name. Inhale, and then downward facing dog. Connect to the palms, step yourself back. You can flow through vinyasa here or skip it. Either is fine. Whatever variation works for you is great. And then when you get back to downward dog, return your knees to the mat. Take a block if you have one in between your palms. So I've got it on its medium height here. Elbows down, thumbs pointing up to the sky. I'm just gonna walk my knees back a little bit and I'm widening them. My toes are tucked under and I'm just gonna melt my heart back and get that nice shoulder opening. If I press into the block a little bit, I get even more of an opening in my upper back. If you do not have a block, you could try just pressing the fingertips into each other. You'll get a very similar experience here. My forehead is down, your chin could be down too. Melting the heart. Nice. Okay, gently ease off from there and we'll return to our downward facing dog. Take your right leg up to the sky behind you, just as high as it wants to go. You can roll your hips open if you like and bend your knee. And then we're going to come into warrior two. So bring your foot between your hands, spin the back heel down, and you can windmill up and open. So heels could be in line or front heel in line with the back arch, usually works for me. Knee right over the ankle. Arms open. You can take a little circle for your wrists. And then settle. Try to draw the shoulders gently down the back, and you might let the hands open a little bit more as well. Keep working with that ujjayi breath, so ribs are lifting and widening on the inhale. Nice. Reach your arms up. Flip your right hand to the sky. Hold the palm with the left hand and curve toward the back of your mat. Keep your knees steady right over your ankle. You might relax your head into your arm. Awesome. Straighten your front leg. Open the arms up, and you may want to shorten your stance just a touch. We're coming into triangle. Tip the hips back and really deepen this right hip crease. So you can come forward, place your fingertips, and open your left arm to the sky. Again, think of squeezing the shoulder blades together a little bit onto your back so you get that chest opening, but the wrist stays relatively over the shoulder. I'm not trying to crank the shoulder out of alignment or anything. Okay, stay here or take your left bicep alongside your ear and then bend the elbow so that you're holding the ear or the side of your head with your left palm. Turn your heart a little towards the sky and kind of point the elbow across the room. So you're getting that nice lengthening along your side waist. Awesome. Inhale and then look down. Spin your hands to the earth, come onto the ball of your back foot and gently hop to the top of your mat. Lengthen halfway when you get there. Exhale, melt. Bend your knees, rise all the way up. Hands to heart. Stay in the flow, reach the arms up. Dive, exhale. Lengthen halfway. And then step your left foot back, and you can put some padding under it if you like, or just double fold your mat. It does work with the knee lifted. If you work better that way, that's fine. Square the hips, pressing forward a little bit, interlace the fingers around behind your back. Maybe take your other thumb on top so it feels a little unfamiliar. Hug the elbows, squeeze the shoulder blades down the back, and lift again, sort of the collarbone, sternum bone up to the sky. Not so much the front ribs, that's sort of a different intention. So you might not kind of be going as far, but you'll feel that opening in your chest. Strong back leg. Nice, gently release that. You can reach your arms up to the sky on an inhale, and then open into that nice open twist. So left fingertips are palm right off the mat, right arm is up to the sky. Back knee can be up or down here, just whatever works better for you is fine. We're gonna open the chest on the inhale, and curl under on the exhale. Inhale, opening up. Exhale, curl. And just going at your pace. One more time. And then next time you're in that open lunge position, just stay there for a couple breaths. And you might try flexing the hand to the sky, like you're trying to push the ceiling up and open, and just see if you get a nice little opening into your kind of forearm area there. Inhale, and then gently release that. We're coming into pyramid. Back foot steps in a little bit. And you could have your hands on blocks here. That might be quite handy for lots of different reasons. And then take that halfway lift. So you want to think of rolling your right hip back, getting nice and long. Even if right now you want to just sort of feel for your sacrum with your right hand, it might be handy to do that. And then you can stay long or you can flow a bit. So that's your inhale, and on your exhale, you can melt. And then just go at your pace. So more than welcome to close your eyes. Okay. And then let's take that halfway lift position. This is a little easier with a block under your hand, just FYI, if you haven't already put one there. Feeling with your right hand, again, leveling out that sacrum. So for most of us, that means right hip is rolling back and the weight of the hips is moving a little to the left, actually. And then you can try turning the heart to the sky. If all is well, maybe the arm goes up to the sky. And if none of this is well, it's not feeling good, just go back a step. Maybe you need the block on one side, you didn't need it on the other side. Just exploring. Inhale and release. Come back to downward dog. Take vinyasa if you want to. If you don't feel like it, you certainly don't have to. You could take child's pose instead. Cat and cow is an awesome vinyasa that keeps you flowing without having to do the full sequence. Take a moment to check in there when you make it back to downward dog. Okay, Left leg goes up towards the sky. Roll the hips open, bend your knee. On an exhale, step that foot through and come to warrior two. So back heel spins down, reach up and open. Shoulders down the back, arms nice and open, and I'm just going to flip around. You can circle the wrists a couple times. Nice and firm through the back leg, and just peek down, make sure your knee is indeed over your ankle. Part of the key of that is that your hips, they're mostly facing to the side wall, but they can slightly tilt forward. They're not squared to the front, but you can tilt them a little. Okay, then reach your arms up, flip your left palm, hold it with your right hand, and take a nice side bend towards the back of your mat. Nice deep breaths into that left lung. Awesome. Release your hands, straighten your front leg. We're coming to triangle, so you may want to step your back foot in. Usually I do just once. Little bend in the knee, letting that left hip crease really deepen. Reach forward, light pressure on that bottom hand, reaching up with the right arm. So we're drawing the belly in. We want to be long through the tailbone without tucking, and really strong through the back leg. And you can stay or take that right bicep alongside the ear, hold the back of the skull, and turn your heart a bit towards the sky. Strong through both of your feet. You want to feel both of your legs active, working to hold you up. Inhale, and then look down, spin down, come onto the ball of that back foot, and gently step forward to the top of your mat. Lengthen halfway. Exhale and melt. So let's do that one more time. Lengthen halfway. Exhale out your mouth this time. Okay. I have big plans in 15 minutes, so let's just see what we can do. Go ahead and step your right foot back again. Knee down, possibly onto a press. Walk your left foot a little bit wide towards the long edge of your mat and turn the toes out. Good idea to have your blocks here. I'm going to grab mine actually, because I want to get into the psoas and I find the blocks are helpful for that. So I'm just placing my palms on my blocks and I want to really work my hips forward. I'm going to untuck my back toes and press them into the mat as if I was trying to lift up the kneecap. I'm squeezing that right bum and I want to lift my heart forward and up. So hips and psoas here. Even as I'm pressing into that right foot, it's almost like I'm trying to get the right hip to come forward a little. And actually, some of you might find it helpful to actually turn slightly, like looking left. So good. Okay, ease off, lift your bum, straighten your front leg. You can keep it wide just for the moment. And then we're going to switch sides. So just go ahead and switch. So I'm going to bring my left knee down onto that block, right leg forward. This is just a one poser, so it doesn't have to be too complicated. So I'm getting my hips nice and far forward. So I might need to inch my foot a little forward as well. And I'm walking it towards the long edge of the mat. Toes are turning out. And I'm just on the blocks on the lowest level. You can kind of play with that for yourself. I'm going to untuck those back toes. I'm really working the hips forward, pressing the top of the foot into the mat so much that the kneecap could almost lift off the ground. And I'm really lifting up here. Okay, and then maybe even looking to the right and just seeing where do you get that opening in the psoas. So definitely your right sort of inner thigh hip, you'll feel that. But part of my intention here is psoas. We're going to try a little bit of back bending in a moment. And we want to really release that hip flexor. So nice and strong with that left leg. One more deep breath. Really good work, you guys. And then come back up. You can briefly straighten out that front leg. Just give it a moment. And then you can go ahead and step back. If you'd like to take a last vinyasa here, you're welcome to. I personally am going to skip it. And we're going to meet laying on our back. So just when you're ready to come down, any way that works for you, come lay down. Okay, here we go. So we're going to take 3 back bends, and we're just going to talk about wheel. So it doesn't mean you have to go there, but we're just going to put it in the repertoire for today. So your heels are hips distance apart. For me, that actually means hips distance. Like they're wider than my sit bones. Okay. That's one of those instructions that doesn't work for everyone's body. So, see what works for you. But for me, it's outer hips. Feet are active, elbows by the ribs, fingertips point up to the sky. Push the elbows down and apart to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Take a moment to engage your pelvic floor and your core without tucking your tailbone. So we're just gathering everything kind of into the midline, and then lift up your bum. You can stay here. You can interlace your fingers under you, or a favorite variation of mine is holding onto the edges of the mat and pulling the mat apart with your hands. Okay, push the floor forward with your feet and hug the inner thighs together. Bridge, breathe. You're using your butt, but you're also using your inner thighs to hug together as if you were holding a block between them. Okay, gently come down. You don't have to curl under. Just let the bum release. Keep your feet on the ground for now, but relax, breathe into your belly. So we want to avoid hugging the knees in until we've completed our back bending sequence, because we're kind of continuing to move the back in that direction for 2 more back bends. If you're willing, feel free to skip any of them. Okay, take a breath. Round 2, gently engage pelvic floor, core, which doesn't mean we're crunching. It means we're gathering into the midline, so we can do back bends with core engaged. Elbows by the ribs, squeeze shoulder blades, lift up. Okay, stay here. Take that interlace finger version or holding the edges of the mat. Or place your hands by your ears and see if you can get the palms down beside your ears. The fingers point in towards your body, and just see if you can get the whole palm down and hug the elbows together so you can actually push into the palms a little. The hands are pretty wide. Right now for me, they're wider than my shoulders, okay? And then you can stay right there. Or if you want to start working towards wheel, here's what I do. I widen my feet a little, even more. I lower my bum slightly. Push into the hands. See how it goes to come onto the crown of my head. Then I re-parallel my feet and I can work the arms towards straight. Still hugging the inner thighs together. Neck is relaxed. To come out, chin to chest. Try to hug the elbows. Release down. Okay, if you're coming out of wheel with me, keep your feet on the ground. You can let the knees fall together though, or you can let the knees fall apart. We've got 1 more to go. Arms up to the sky, and I'm just making fists and I'm circling the wrists. So back bends, well, bridge and wheel, tend to come in 3s because sometimes it's the 3rd one where you actually get the opening. Notice how you're feeling. Back bends can be pretty energizing and pretty intense. If you're feeling like, whoa, that is fine, I'm good here. Feel free to take bridge or just stay as you are. And you can absolutely kind of move toward wheel and just sort of see how it feels for you. So I'm just going to talk you through it 1 more time. Obviously, it's up to you whether you want to come with me or not. So heels are outer hips distance, and to be honest with you, when I'm doing wheel, they go wider. I usually recorrect them once I'm up, but I need a nice wide stance to be able to get myself up, okay? The feet are tend to want to splay, so widening them helps me to keep them parallel. So we lift up, get those shoulders under as much as possible. Okay, my heels are pretty wide. I can actually feel the edges of my mat there with my feet. And the hands are pretty wide too, so I can get the whole palms down. I'm gonna lower my hips a bit. Then lift. Widen again. Hug the elbows and straighten. Then I'm recorrecting. So I wanna parallel my feet. And breathe. Head is relaxed. Elbows are hugging together a bit, so are the knees. I'm gently pushing the floor away, but I don't want to overdo that. I try to hug the elbows in as I draw the chin in and lower. And now I'm going to relax. Knees apart, feet together, arms up, and circle the wrists. And you can circle the wrists whether you're coming out of bridge or wheel or whatever. And then circle the other way. Wheel can be very intense on the wrists because until the shoulders are quite open, the wrist is on sort of an extreme angle. As the shoulders get more open, the wrists are a bit more neutral. I didn't start to get wrist trouble in my wheel until I lost some of my flexibility with having the baby. So that's just interesting to watch how my body changes. Okay, take a rest. So take a few moments to consciously relax your belly. You can sigh out your mouth if you like, opening the gates of your breath, just releasing some of the heat. And now we can draw the knees in towards the chest. And you can rock from side to side. Okay, hold on to your left knee. Extend the right leg long onto the mat in front of you. Hug your knee a bit wide towards your armpit and breathe down into your belly. This is soothing for the nervous system as well as for the back. Really nice as we wind down. Take the knee across your body and come towards a twist. So that might just be a little bit of the way. You might bring the knee towards the floor, or you might, as I'm doing, just bring the knees right together and look to the left. So twists are also soothing for the nervous system and for the back. So they're really nice after back bends just to kind of ground the energy. Take the one that feels good for you. It's not going to be soothing if it doesn't feel good. Okay, come back to Apanasana. So holding the left knee, right leg is long, and then you're gonna, how can I describe this? I'm gonna take my left knee just across my body a little bit and tuck my right knee in. So I'm taking Gomukhasana. So it's sort of a variation of thread the needle. So it's like I've got my left thigh crossed over my right one, and I'm just bringing them in. So you'll feel your hip opening here. And if this doesn't make any sense to you, feel free to take thread the needle or any hip opener that does work for you. Looks like you guys have all got it. Yeah. Feet are active, and I'm just kind of gently holding my left leg. It doesn't really matter where you're holding here, just wherever's comfortable for you to reach. And then let's release that and take a tadpole. So the knees are wide towards the armpits. You're holding the knees, and you can rock a little from side to side or even forward and back, just kind of opening the inner thighs. A massage for the lower back. And then let's do that little sequence on the other side. So holding the right knee in close, letting the left leg go out long. And just breathing here. Left leg is strong, foot is flexed, but you're not trying to lift it. The energy is going down and forward, like towards the wall that your sole of your foot is looking at. As you're ready, cross the knee over towards the other side. Right arm goes open to the right. And if you'd like, you can stack your knees or put a prop underneath your hip, or just keep it like that, one knee twist. So just whatever works for you is fine. Again, twists are excellent if they feel good. Okay, if they hurt your back, they're not going to be beneficial. So just find that variation that works for you. Might be different on the two sides. My spine is a little twisty these days, so I'm feeling quite asymmetrical. Okay, and then come back to that Apanasana, so holding the right knee in, and then you're gonna take it across. So it's kind of like the right foot is going over towards the left side of the body, and then you're tucking your left knee into your right knee. Sort of a difficult way to explain. Another way of saying that is if you're sitting cross-legged in a chair with your right leg over your left and then you hug that in, that's sort of what we're doing here. And again, hold whatever's handy. It's okay if it's a different place than on the first side. We're just looking for that little hip opening. And feet are active. I really like this one lately. I think just kind of getting this one, it's a little narrower, so we get a little closer in towards the piriformis. And if you've ever had sciatica, you probably know what a piriformis is. One of those muscles that can cause some pinching down the leg. Beautiful. And then we'll widen into that little sort of mini happy baby pose. So the knees go wide, you can rock a little. And if you'd like, you can take that into full happy baby. So soles of the feet go up to the sky. You're holding the ankles or the feet or the toes, whatever you like. And I'm rocking from side to side. And then when you're ready, we'll release the legs. You can give them a little shake up towards the sky and we'll prepare for Shavasana. So if we had time, I would add shoulder stand. If you have time and you know shoulder stand, you love it and know how to counter pose it, you can take it. Otherwise, just take your legs and your arms up to the sky just for a breath or two. We'll just kind of settle towards Shavasana. You can have your knees bent. If you're more comfortable with a little prop wedged under you, you can do that. We're just going to be here for a short time though. Just feeling your energy kind of settle. And then you can hug the knees in and make your way into your Shavasana. So if you'd like a bolster under your legs, that benefits lots of people. You can open your arms up. You can cover yourself with your blanket. If you've had a playlist going, you could turn off the music. I usually like Shavasana in silence personally. And if this shape doesn't work for you, you could be laying on your side or however works for you. Just taking some moments to breathe and settle the energy from our practice today. Letting go finally of your ujjayi and just letting your breath breathe you. So take a moment to notice how you feel. And if what you're feeling is that you'd like to stay in your Shavasana a bit longer and you have the time to do that, you're more than welcome to stay. Otherwise, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your head. You can stretch. And then draw in your knees. Roll to one side. And then make your way up to a comfortable seat and place your hands where works for you. So that might be together at your heart, maybe over top. And take a moment to bow your mind to your hands, honoring and acknowledging the work that it took for you to show up to your practice today, whatever it might have looked like or felt like. Honoring and acknowledging the long and complex lineage of teachers that is with us when we practice our yoga. And honoring the land that we practice on, wherever that may be in the world. Thank you for sharing your practice.